It's essentially one of the budget offering from Shanling, and as a budget DAP, of course, you're going to expect certain limitation. For example, this M1 Plus runs on proprietary Shanling technology, which is something which is they call Ingenic X3000. Non-Android, it has some very cool feature. The build quality is definitely top-notch. As you can see here, it has this very nice looking rotary volume adjustment. And at the side here, the usual 3 buttons representing play and pause, forward and reverse. And of course, you're going to get the standard 3.5 mm single-ended here, and also 4.4 mm balance. And at the bottom here, it has this USB Type-C, and last but not least, micro SD. Now, this is very important. This thing only support external storage. You see this? Fio M23 and iBasso DX260. 2 of my regularly used digital audio player. And you'll be wondering what kind of size are we talking about for this M1 Plus? Here it is. So very small. It's literally like half the size of this M23 and even this DX260.
Like I mentioned earlier, this Shanling M1 Plus runs on a very special proprietary OS, which is the Ingenix X2000. Very simple, the interface itself, not even a home screen, but you'll be directly given this app drawer here, which you can scroll, and there's 3 pages of it. The setting is pretty much very simple. We have here setting, which is pretty much look like similar to Android, okay? You have language, wireless setting, network service, and everything. So it does support this Wi-Fi connection of 2.5 and also 5, and also you have Bluetooth, which is capable of supporting all popular Bluetooth protocol. And going back to the main screen here, which you can actually use gesture like that, similar to Android, you would notice that this playback section here, it is actually a simplified, or should I say a bare-bone version of Shanling Edit Player. But you also will be given this Tidal app here once you set up the Wi-Fi. And I'd just like to show you something, some of the feature of this. You see, when you activate Tidal here and running streaming, assuming that you're already connected to your Wi-Fi, the performance of this Tidal will be largely dependent on how good the network is. Because, as noted earlier, this thing does not have any kind of internal memory, so it will always do real-time streaming. So for example, I have already connected my collection here. So when I click on my collection, you notice that, you know, this is a playlist here. Let me show you an example. And you saw that it was loading. And then let's say if I click one of my playlists, okay, like this, then I scroll like this. I know for the fact that this playlist contains a lot of song here, lots, but as you can see here, it is not showing all of that because there's a delay. I'm not sure whether I know there's a limitation or what, but if I click play like this, okay, and then it starts playing, you see that it's loading. It's always loading, okay, because one thing you need to remember to take into consideration, M1 Plus would always be running on streaming. It will not cache the file locally, so there's no such thing as local playback for this Tidal streaming service here. From my perspective, the real appeal of this M1 Plus is its ability to run on local playback file. For example, I have already attached my SD card here at the bottom here, okay, and then I have already loaded my song here. So if I click on this, for example, click on artist, I should be able to see all my FLAC files residing in the micro SD. And then when I click on play and everything, of course, it will just immediately play back everything using the edit player. Okay, so no issues here. You can just go to playback setting here. Of course, there's 2 gain being provided, high and low, okay, and digital filter. There's a lot of them, but one thing I did notice is that it does not have any kind of non-oversampling. It does have minimum phase, fast roll off, few type of fast roll off, and a few type of slow roll off. I did notice that these filters tend to be only seems to be effective on highly, or should I say easy to drive partners, but doesn't seem to be working that much effective at all when connected to something which is a bit more demanding to drive. I know a lot of people love EQ, and I did try this EQ. When I click it on, you would notice that you were given 5-band parametric EQ, or should I say pretty much a traditional EQ where you can adjust like this all the way up and everything. And my comment on that is that on this EQ is that after trying it for quite a while, I did notice that it is not as effective when I use it with something which is a bit more demanding, again like something Sennheiser HD600 or even magnetic planar, because even if I turn it like this very high on this, let's say upper frequency here and this lower frequency, the good thing is that it does not distort the sound, but it doesn't seem to be quite effective as well. So not like, some other EQ which I have tested on different system. It will work, but don't expect it to be like drastically effective like some other digital audio player. Another good thing about this M1 Plus is that despite being small like this, it is capable of resolving very high resolution, pretty much the max I would say, capable of DSD 512, which is super impressive, and also PCM 768 kHz. And of course, on top of being analog audio player, as you can see here, you can actually switch on the digital output, which means that this M1 Plus would be very useful to serve as a DAC should you need something which is connected to a coaxial to another DAC. Despite being super compact like this, small, this M1 Plus is surprisingly quite powerful, because you have to consider it has this Saber ES9069Q DAC inside, and also supported by dual configuration of amplifiers, which is the SGM8262, and the output itself, how powerful it is. I have tried with my Sennheiser HD600 here, and I am happy to say that I was able to achieve proper listening loudness at around 50, 52 to 54 out of 100, and the kind of output which I'm hearing is in fact impressive enough that I do not feel that it is missing that much at all. Of course, if I were to compare it side by side with more powerful desktop DAC M like this, there are some differences, but again, if I am not being critical, it is small enough that I am actually enjoying it. One thing for sure, this is Shanling we are talking about, okay? They know what they are doing. So in general, the tuning for this M1 Plus, because it is equipped with ESS Saber ES9069Q, it does sound, like a typical ESS Saber kind of sound tuning, which means that it is highly analytical, detailed, very good with macro and micro detail, separation and layering. Perhaps the only cons, if I connect it to, let's say, relatively bright sounding partners, something which is like already highly resolving, then the output itself may appear kind of a bit edgy, kind of a bit, stronger with the PINA region, especially on the upper frequency. But then again, that is the kind of sound which to be expected if you use, bright sounding partners with an ESS Saber DAC M or even dongle or any type of ESS Saber device. And when I connect it to something which is natively organic sounding, like this Sennheiser HD600 here, or even let's say some other IEM that I have, then the combination is something which I would consider as very well balanced between musical and analytical. And despite being, let's say, small like this, I already mentioned, it is super powerful, capable of driving pretty much anything I have thrown at it. One thing that I did notice is that the sound stage, it is rather kind of a bit more towards like being tall, circular, rather than, wide open sounding, because I do know that this Hydis MP105 does sound kind of a bit, naturally wider. But on top of that, it is holographic, even making this Sennheiser HD600, which I use a lot, sound kind of a bit more circular. In exchange of that wide open sound, it does offer you a bit more circular kind of spatial staging. It is quite refreshing to see that we are seeing more and more very compact and affordable digital audio player like this making into the market, so that it will be like more option for the consumer nowadays. And obviously, I have already shown you what are the pros and the cons of this Shanling M1 Plus, and I think the pro outweighs the con, because the con, just like I say earlier, it does not have any kind of local playback for Tidal, and it does seem to be kind of a bit running a bit hot, especially on a hot sunny day. But on top of it, if you consider the small form factor, the versatility, the power that it offers, and the kind of, let's say, resolution details that it offers, this M1 Plus definitely would be one of the digital audio player that I would recommend if you're looking for very compact solution.